Hey guys, Luke here again for another NRL 2019 Finals Week 2 predictions video. Now last night, it went pretty good. I picked the Rabbitohs, they won. Am I going to be as fortunate for today's video? Probably not. Speaking of today's video, we're going to be predicting the Melbourne Storm against the Parramatta Eels. Both sides are pretty good. I mean, the Eels are so hot and cold. Melbourne are super consistent. Although last week they didn't get the win. Eels obviously did get the win. A huge win for the Eels. So, going into this game, if you'd asked me a few weeks ago, I would have said, yeah, Melbourne going to win this one. So easy. Para, no chance. But after last week, anything's possible. I saw Parramatta winning last week. I just didn't see them winning by that much. I mean, 58 points or whatever it was. That is crazy. Melbourne up against Raiders, though. That's a very tough game. Pretty bad matchup for Melbourne, I gotta say. I thought Melbourne would win, and to be honest, they looked like they were gonna win until a late error from Addo Carr. He ended up dropping the ball. Now, I know there was a bit of controversy about the Vunivalu. Did he put his hand out? Did he not? I mean, obviously he didn't, but referee gave it. But at the same time, if that error from Addo Carr doesn't happen, I mean, it was like the first tackle. They just survived. They defended their asses off. And then a first tackle drop ball literally led to the winning try. Because I think Leilua ended up with the ball just through an inside pass and they score straight from the error. So, I mean, it's uncharacteristic for Melbourne to have an error like that. So, I don't know. I'd like to think Melbourne will learn from their mistakes. And I don't think Eels are a team that's really troubled them in the past. But, I mean, the Eels were so good last week. If you are going to put like 58 points on a team, you're going to be full of confidence. The only problem I see for the Eels is that it was played at Bankwest last week. We all know... I mean, I've talked about this previously before. The Eels at Bankwest are like a whole different team. I don't think they've lost. They might have lost one game. In terms of home games, I don't think they've lost a home game at Bankwest. It's just, yeah, just night and day between them at Bankwest and them anywhere else. The problem is, this game is anywhere else. It's in Melbourne. It's a Melbourne home game. Melbourne lost last week in front of the home crowd, but I just can't see them losing 2 in a row. And that's just for Melbourne in general, let alone in front of the home crowd. Melbourne... They don't tend to lose 2 in a row. Not a Cameron Smith captain side, not a Craig Bellamy coach side. It just doesn't happen. It's kind of unheard of. So for the Eels to do it, it's going to take an absolute masterclass from them. I think they're going to have to be a 10 out of 10 performance from them, because I think Melbourne, if Melbourne play at least like a 7 or 8 out of 10, I think they get the job done here. I don't know if the Eels want to get into a grinding sort of game with them. I think that's a bad move. They've got to do what they did last week, and that's throw it around. I feel like Melbourne really struggle when teams throw it around a fair bit, go side to side. They love when teams sort of just play a bit of one out, a bit of structured footy. So when things sort of go a bit funny and, you know, ball hit the ground or something and there's an offload and just things that aren't really textbook, I feel like Melbourne struggle a little bit. So I think that's what the Eels have got to do. Eels have just got to go for it. They just got to attack at all costs. And I think there's a few keys for the Eels if they're going to win this one. I think Mitchell Moses has to have a big game. Obviously, Gutherson has to have a big game. And I think Sivo needs to get involved. Now, we've seen how damaging he's been. We saw last night Sully was so influential for Manly. I think Sivo needs to do the same. I know he's a winger, but... I think he is crucial. Same can be said for Blake Ferguson. Him and Sivo, they are the key to this side. Their kick returns are good. If they don't have any errors in that, I think Eels will play very, very well. You're adding guys like Sean Lane, who have been quite good this year. I think Eels definitely have the potential to upset Melbourne here. And I do say it would be an upset if they do pick up the victory here, just because of how consistent Melbourne have been this year. They've been the benchmark. I mean, they didn't just win the minor premiership. They done it easy. They won by multiple points. It was very easy for the Storm to win this year. I think the problem for them is that when times get tough, they don't really have like I don't know, they can't really switch it up too much. Because, I mean, gone are the days where they have Cooper Cronk, a guy who can, who's just so good. Now they've got Jerome Hughes, who isn't a halfback, playing halfback. They also have a rookie in Pappenhausen at fullback as well. So they've got a fullback playing halfback, and then they've got a rookie playing fullback there in a big finals, a big pressure game like an elimination final. So everything's going to rest on Cameron Smith and Cameron Munster. Thankfully for the Storm, I think they're that good, those two, that they can get it done. In particular, Cameron Smith. I mean, he's the best player in the world, in my opinion. I know we can look at all the, you know, players who are hot at the moment and in form, and, you know, there's always a new one on the block. I mean, a lot of the talk is Tedesco's best player in the world, but Cameron Smith he might not be the best player in the world. I'll rephrase it. He's the most influential player in the world in terms of rugby league. He's so good. And not only do the Eels need to beat the Storm, I think they need to beat Cameron Smith and the referees, because Cameron Smith has a way with words with the referees. They do get a lot of calls, Melbourne, but last week they didn't, and it didn't work for Melbourne. And obviously there was a lot of controversy about it, but it just goes to show that things don't always go Melbourne's way. So it's not a lock-in that Melbourne are going to get the rub of the green. So I don't know, I feel like the Eels can go to Melbourne full of confidence and really scare Melbourne. I mean, I think this is a terrible matchup for Melbourne. I just feel, though, that Melbourne, they're not going to lose 2 in a row, but I mean, if there's any team who can do it, I feel like it's going to be the Eels. They're so hot and cold that I think they can do it. I mean, the Broncos are no Melbourne Storm. Let's just say that. The Broncos are absolutely diabolical. So them losing to the Eels and getting a lot of points put on them, it's not really a surprise. I mean, the Bulldogs did the same to them the week before, and that's the Bulldogs. So the fact that Eels did it, it is impressive, but just got to remember it was the Broncos. So I don't know, maybe they're going to have false expectations. It wouldn't be the first time we've seen a team go to Melbourne full of confidence and Melbourne just absolutely destroy them. We'll look at Manly a few weeks ago. Manly got the win against them at Melbourne. And then Melbourne went to Manly, learned from their mistakes, and absolutely towed up Manly. We've seen Manly, very good side, and they got towed up by Melbourne. So, yeah, Melbourne definitely, I'd say Roosters are the best team in terms of if they're on their day, they're the best. But Melbourne aren't that far behind. And for that reason, I feel like Melbourne are going to get the job done. I do think it's going to be a close one. Like I said, Eels have a lot of good players, a lot of good individual players. Just a matter of if they can play as a unit. And I think Mitchell Moses needs to have a big game for them to be any chance. And also Sivo and Blake Ferguson is get in and do the hard yards. And they need big games from them as well. Can they do it? Of course they can. The Eels, I mean, they just put 58 points on a team. So you can never rule them out. But it's just so hard to go past Melbourne. It's such an easy tip, I think. An easy prediction. I feel like if you're just looking for the easy bet, I mean, Storm every week, it's, you know they're going to play half decent, so, and they win most of the time, so it's easy just to predict them every week. Same with Roosters and that, but I don't know, like I said, if there's any team who can knock off the Storm this week, it would be the Eels. I think they're really going to trouble them. However, I just think the Storm will just have a little bit too much. So in terms of predicting this, I'm going to go Melbourne 1-12. I'm not particularly confident with that tip, but I don't know, I think it's a safe bet. In terms of man of the match, I think your safe bet is if Melbourne win, it's going to be Cameron Smith. I think he's going to be influential in this game. Adding Cameron Munster or Pappenhausen, I think they can do a job. Even guys like Jesse Bromwich and, I don't know, Brendan Smith's pretty good off the bench. I don't know, there's a lot of options for the Storm, a lot of good players for both teams. So either way, I think this is going to be a really, really good game. I think we're going to see a lot of attack from the Eels, and I think Storm will match it with them, to be honest, for a while. In terms of just throwing it around maybe, but I don't know. I'm looking forward to this game, that's for sure. So guys, I'm predicting a Melbourne Storm victory 1-12. Cameron Smith, the man of the match. Leave in the comment section below. What are your predictions for this game? Do you think Melbourne's going to win? Do you think Eels going to win? 1-12, 13 plus. Let me know. Also, who's going to be the man of the match? Also, let me know in the comment section below. Righto, guys, that's my prediction for the game. Finals week 2 is just about over. Hopefully, it's a cracker of a game. Last night's game was absolutely outstanding. Hopefully, this one is just as good. Maybe not as much controversy in terms of reffing. That would be absolutely fantastic. But hey, I'll just take a great game of football. And now guys, thanks for watching. If you happen to enjoy the video, make sure you go ahead and smash the like button and subscribe to the channel if you're new around here. I'll be posting a lot of rugby league videos in terms of the finals, so if you're into that sort of stuff, just go ahead and subscribe and keep coming back to the channel. Also, while you're at it, go ahead and give me a follow on Twitter and Instagram. It's on the screen right now. It's Mr. Luke on YT. My Facebook page is also in the description below. I've been posting on that a little bit more. Also, go ahead and add me on Snapchat. It's the same as what's on the screen right now. It's Mr. Luke on YT, so go ahead and add me on that. Anyway, guys, that's where I'm ending the video. Thank you for watching. I'll see you for the next video. Bye, guys.